The night before my wedding, I should have been celebrating. A glass of whiskey in my hand. Friends laughing. My fiancée, Sophia, waiting for me at the altar tomorrow. Instead, I sat alone in my study, staring at a package that had arrived anonymously.
No sender.
No note. Just a USB drive and a single printed sentence. Before you say, I do, watch this. Something in my gut twisted. I should have ignored it. Should have tossed it in the trash and gone to bed. But I didn't. Instead, I plugged the USB into my laptop. And within seconds, my entire world shattered. The video opened in a dimly lit hotel suite. A woman, my woman, straddled a man on the bed, her bare back to the camera, her moans filling the silence. I froze, my breath lodged in my throat. Sophia, my beautiful, charming, perfect fiancée. But it wasn't just her betrayal that sent ice down my spine. It was who she was with. Liam, my business partner, my trusted ally, the man who stood beside me as I built my empire. And now he was inside the woman I was supposed to marry. I clenched my jaw, forcing myself to watch, because something told me this wasn't just an affair. And I was right. The video wasn't just sex. It was a confession. Between kisses, between desperate gasps, they talked about me, about what was coming after the wedding. Sophia, once I'm his wife, he won't see it coming. Liam, he trusts you. He won't question a thing. Sophia, and when it's done, he'll be left with nothing. Just a name on a fraud case and no way out. I felt like the floor had been ripped out from under me. This wasn't just infidelity. This was a setup, planned to destroy me completely. I forced myself to think, not react. If there was one thing I had learned in business, it was never to strike without all the information. I opened my laptop and started digging. I hacked into Sophia's emails, a skill I never thought I'd need to use against my own fiancé. And what I found, it made my stomach turn. Bank accounts I didn't recognize, all in my name. Forged signatures, fake transactions, millions of dollars moving in and out of my accounts, transactions I never authorized. And the worst part? Emails between Sophia and Liam, discussing how they would pin it all on me. Sophia, once the papers are signed, he won't have a choice. If he runs, he's guilty. If he stays, he'll rot in a cell. Liam, and we'll be the ones left standing. I leaned back, my hands clenched into fists. My fiancée wasn't just cheating on me. She was about to ruin my life. But she had underestimated me. Because if there was one thing I did better than anyone, it was playing the long game. And now, it was my turn. I spent the entire night gathering evidence, downloading files, copying messages, making sure every detail of their scam was stored where no one could erase it. By the time the sun rose, I had enough proof to bury both of them. But I wasn't going to the police. Not yet. No, Sophia wanted to put on a show? Then I would give her one. The wedding would still happen. The guests would still come. But when she walked down that aisle expecting to become my wife, she would find something else waiting for her. Something that would tear her world apart, the way she had planned to do to me. And the best part? She wouldn't see it coming. By sunrise, my plan was already in motion. I had spent the night not grieving, not breaking down, but strategizing. Because I wasn't just going to stop Sophia and Liam. I was going to destroy them. And I would do it in front of everyone they ever wanted to impress. The first thing I did was call my lawyer. I need every transaction under my name investigated. Discreetly. There was a pause. Then, what's going on? A setup, I said, cold and controlled. And I want it unraveled before it catches me. By noon, I had confirmation. Sophia had already begun shifting assets. She was preparing for my downfall before we had even said I do. But what she didn't know, I was already 2 steps ahead of her. I contacted my bank, had my financial security team lock every single account under my name. Within an hour, Sophia wouldn't be able to access a single dollar. And Liam? His company was about to get an unexpected audit request. But that was just the beginning, because I wasn't just going to stop them. I was going to let them walk straight into their own destruction. By the afternoon, I was back at the wedding venue, walking through the final preparations. Flowers, catering, seating arrangements. Everything looked perfect, like nothing was wrong. And Sophia? She was beaming, like a woman who had already won. "You're quiet today," she murmured, slipping her arms around my waist. I forced a small smile, playing my role. "Just thinking about tomorrow." She leaned in, pressing a kiss to my jaw. "Me too." I fought the urge to recoil, to grab her by the shoulders and whisper, "I know everything." But that wasn't part of the plan. So instead, I held her close, letting her believe she still had control. Because when the moment came, I wanted her to feel it, the exact moment she realized she had lost everything. That evening, I received another message, another anonymous sender. This time it was a recording. I pressed play, my blood running cold as Liam's voice filled the room. "Once he's out of the picture, everything will fall into place." A pause. Then Sophia's voice. "He won't see it coming. I'll make sure of it." I exhaled slowly, my hands tightening around my phone. So it wasn't just about money. It wasn't just about betrayal. This was a game of complete destruction. But they had made one critical mistake. They had underestimated me. And at the wedding, when the entire world was watching, I would make sure they never forgot it. By the time the sun had set, I had rehearsed every possible move, every lie I had to sell, every step of my revenge. Sophia still believed she was in control, that I was just a devoted fool, blindly walking into the trap she and Liam had so carefully laid. But she had no idea that the real trap was hers, and it would spring shut on the most important day of her life. The night before the wedding, Sophia wanted us to have dinner together, a private moment before the big day. I agreed, because why wouldn't I? Letting her believe she had won only made my final strike that much sweeter. She looked radiant across the candlelit table, her eyes gleaming as she sipped her wine. "I still can't believe tomorrow is finally here," she said, running a hand down my arm. I smiled, masking the disgust simmering beneath my skin. "Neither can I, because by tomorrow, she wouldn't be my fiancée anymore. By tomorrow, she would be nothing." As we finished dinner, Sophia reached into her purse and pulled out a small, wrapped box. "A little something before the big day," she murmured, placing it in my palm. I unwrapped it carefully, revealing an engraved gold pen. At first, it seemed meaningless, until I saw the inscription, "For the future we're about to build." I turned the pen over in my hand, something cold twisting in my gut. This wasn't just a gift. It was a reminder, because tomorrow, she expected me to sign away my life. The marriage contract, the joint financial agreements, everything she had been working toward. This wasn't just a celebration for her. It was the moment she thought she would own me. I looked up, meeting her gaze. She was smiling, completely unaware that this was her last night as a free woman. I waited until she was asleep before making my next move. I had already collected all the evidence I needed, but now, it was time to deliver it to the right hands. I made 3 calls. First, to my lawyers. Make sure the authorities have copies of everything. By tomorrow afternoon, I want arrest warrants ready. Second, to my financial team. Confirm the account freezes. Make sure nothing slips past us. Third, to the media. I have a story, one that will end careers. When the final call ended, I exhaled. Everything was set. By this time tomorrow, Sophia and Liam wouldn't just be exposed. They would be ruined. And as I stared at the gold pen still sitting on my desk, I smirked. Because the only signature happening at that wedding would be the one that sealed her downfall. The morning of the wedding arrived with an eerie sense of calm. The sun was shining. The venue was perfect. Guests were already arriving, dressed in their finest. To everyone else, this was the happiest day of my life. But to me, it was the day I would bury Sophia and Liam's future before it even began. As I walked through the venue, making last-minute checks, I spotted her, Sophia, laughing with her bridesmaids, her smile wide and carefree. She had no idea what was coming. No idea that in just a few hours, She would go from a glowing bride to a national disgrace. She caught my eye and waved me over, grinning. "Are you ready for this, my love?" she asked, reaching for my hands. I took them, squeezing gently, playing my role perfectly. "I've never been more ready," she sighed happily. "I love you, Nathan." The lie rolled off her tongue so effortlessly. I almost wanted to laugh, because I had seen the messages, heard the recordings, watched the video of her in Liam's arms, talking about my downfall like it was just another business transaction. She had played me for a fool, but today she would learn who she was really dealing with. I stepped away from the chaos of the wedding prep, pulling out my phone. There were 3 messages waiting for me. "My lawyers, documents are ready. The authorities are standing by. My financial team, her access is officially revoked. She won't know until she tries to use the money. The media contact, everything is scheduled to go live the moment you give the signal." I inhaled deeply, steadying myself. Everything was in place. All I had to do was pull the trigger. The guests were seated. The music started. I stood at the altar, watching as Sophia walked down the aisle, dressed in white, looking every bit the part of a woman in love. She thought she was walking toward a lifetime of wealth, power, and security. She had no idea she was walking straight into her own destruction. I glanced at the hidden cameras positioned around the venue. Everything was being recorded, because when I exposed her, I wanted the whole world to see it. As she reached me, she took my hands, eyes glistening with fake love. "You look beautiful," I murmured. Her smile widened. "I can't wait to be your wife." I smirked. "Oh, Sophia, you have no idea what's coming." And with that, the ceremony began. The countdown to her public downfall had officially started. The ceremony had begun. Guests sat in silence, eyes locked on us, the perfect couple. Sophia stood beside me, glowing with fake happiness, completely unaware that her world was about to collapse in front of everyone she ever wanted to impress. The officiant began speaking, his words a blur in my ears, because I wasn't focused on the vows. I was focused on the moment I would destroy her. I glanced toward the back of the room. A small nod from my lawyer. Everything was in place. The authorities were ready. The media was waiting. And Liam? He was in the crowd, smirking like a man who thought he had already won. I could almost hear his thoughts. "Poor bastard has no idea." But what he didn't know, I was about to take everything from him. "Nathan, do you take Sophia to be your lawfully wedded wife?" The officiant's voice rang through the hall. Silence. All eyes on me. Sophia squeezed my hands. "I do," she whispered, urging me forward. I smiled. Then I let go of her hands, stepped back, and said the words that turned the entire room to ice. "Actually, I don't." Gasps echoed through the venue. Sophia froze. Liam sat up straighter, his smirk fading. Sophia laughed nervously. "Nathan, stop joking." I turned to the audience. "Ladies and gentlemen, my apologies for the interruption, but before I commit my life to someone, I believe it's only fair to show you all who she really is." The lights dimmed, the big screens came to life, and then, the betrayal played for everyone to see. Hashtag, hashtag, hashtag the ultimate exposure. The first video appeared. Sophia and Liam in a hotel room. Her moans filled the room, and the entire crowd gasped in horror. Her mother clutched her chest. Someone dropped a glass. Sophia turned white. But that was just the beginning. The next clip played. Sophia's voice, recorded from her own phone. "Once I'm his wife, he won't see it coming. He trusts me. He won't question a thing." Liam jumped to his feet. "Turn that off." But it was too late. The third file loaded: bank statements, forged signatures, proof of their conspiracy. And finally, the last recording. Sophia's voice, dripping with arrogance. "Nathan is just a stepping stone. Once he's ruined, Liam and I will be the ones left standing." Silence. Then, the doors burst open. 2 police officers walked in. One looked at Sophia, the other at Liam. "Nathan Andrews?" the officer asked, glancing at me. I nodded. "Charges have been filed. We're taking them in." Sophia collapsed to her knees.
No.
This isn't... Nathan, please. Liam turned, trying to run, but security tackled him to the ground before he even made it 2 steps. The guests? Stunned, horrified, whispering. And me? I buttoned my jacket. Then I walked toward the doors, stepping over Sophia's wedding veil as she sobbed into the floor. I didn't look back, because I had already won. And she had lost everything. I stepped out of the venue into the crisp evening air. Inside, chaos raged. Guests whispered in horror. The police secured Liam in handcuffs as he shouted empty threats. Sophia? She was still on the floor, sobbing, her perfect world crumbling around her. I had imagined this moment 100 times, but nothing compared to the real thing. I had not just exposed them, I had obliterated them, and I felt nothing. Nathan! Her voice cracked behind me. I turned, slowly, watching as Sophia stumbled forward, her wedding dress dragging along the floor like a symbol of her ruined future. Tears streaked her makeup. Gone was the confident, manipulative woman who had planned to ruin me. All that remained was a broken liar grasping at something already lost. Please, she gasped. You don't have to do this. We can fix this. I laughed. Fix this. I repeated, stepping closer. Her hands trembled. Nathan, you don't understand. Liam. He manipulated me. I never wanted this. I tilted my head, pulling out my phone. I scrolled to the last recording, the one of her voice planning my downfall. I pressed play. Nathan is just a stepping stone. Once he's ruined, Liam and I will be the ones left standing. Her own words sealed her fate. Her lip quivered, her last excuse crumbling. Please, she whispered. One final, pathetic attempt. I looked into her tear-streaked, desperate eyes, and I felt nothing.
No anger. No hate. No regret.
Just cold indifference. Goodbye, Sophia. And with that, I walked away, leaving her in the ruins of her own betrayal. I got into my car, my hands steady on the wheel.
No hesitaste.
No second thoughts. I had done what needed to be done. Sophia and Liam would be behind bars soon. Their names? Ruined. Their plan? Turned against them. And me? I was still standing. Stronger. Smarter. Untouchable. I pulled onto the road, the city lights blurring past me. I had lost nothing that mattered. And for the first time in a long time, I was finally free. The morning after the wedding that never was, I woke up to the world knowing the truth. I sat on my balcony, sipping black coffee, as the news articles flooded my phone. Heiress Sophia Caldwell and business mogul Liam Carter exposed in fraudulent scheme. Betrayal at the altar. How one groom turned a wedding into a sting operation. Financial crimes, infidelity, and public humiliation. The fall of Sophia Caldwell. Each headline brought a satisfied smirk to my lips. Sophia wanted power. She wanted to take everything from me. Now she had nothing. Her name was no longer associated with elegance, status, and charm. It was synonymous with shame. Liam's company? Under investigation. Sophia's bank accounts? Frozen. And as for me, I had come out of this stronger than ever. By noon, my lawyer called. The authorities have everything they need. Charges are being filed. How long before they're officially done? I asked, watching the city skyline. Sophia's looking at 5 to 10 years minimum. Liam? More. He was behind most of the financial fraud. I nodded, exhaling. And my name? Untouched. We made sure of that. You're not just walking away from this, Nathan. You're walking away clean. That was all I needed to hear. I had beaten them, destroyed them, and I hadn't even needed to lift a finger. That evening, my phone buzzed with an unknown number. I almost ignored it, but curiosity won. I opened the message. It was from Sophia. A long, rambling apology. She claimed she had been pressured, that Liam manipulated her, that she still loved me. She begged me to visit her before she was taken into custody. I stared at the message for a moment. Then I deleted it, blocked the number, because Sophia was already dead to me, and ghosts don't deserve second chances. I didn't just survive this. I won. And as I poured myself a drink that night, letting the weight of the past finally lift from my shoulders, I realized this wasn't just an ending. It was the start of something so much greater. And this time, no one would ever play me again. Days passed, then weeks. Sophia and Liam had been erased from the world they once ruled. Their faces still appeared in the news, but not as the glamorous power players they once pretended to be. Now, they were criminals. Liam's company had collapsed. Sophia's family had cut ties with her. And me, I was still at the top, watching from above as they crumbled. One evening, my assistant walked into my office, holding a small, sealed envelope. "This came for you, sir." Hand-delivered. No return address. I already knew who it was from. I opened it, my fingers steady as I pulled out the letter. Sophia's handwriting. "Nathan, I know I have no right to ask for anything, but I have nothing left. No money, no family, no future. I'm facing prison, and I need to see you one last time. Please, just once. If I ever meant anything to you, meet me. I'll be at the old park bench where we used to sit. Tonight, 9 p.m. Sophia." I let out a slow breath. This was it. Her final act. Her last desperate attempt at manipulation. And I wasn't falling for it. But something in me wanted to see her crumble one last time. So that night I went. The park was empty, cold, quiet. And there on the bench was Sophia. She looked nothing like the woman I almost married.
No designer dress. No polished perfection.
Just a broken liar with nowhere left to run. She looked up at me, her eyes hollow. "You came." I stayed standing, hands in my pockets. "Say what you need to say." She swallowed hard. I never wanted it to end like this." I smirked. "Oh, you just wanted me ruined? In prison? Or were you hoping I'd be desperate enough to beg you to stay?" Her eyes flickered. She had no answer, because we both knew the truth. She was never sorry. Not until she got caught. "Nathan, please. I have nothing left." Her voice cracked. "I don't even have a place to sleep tonight." For a second, I just looked at her, watched as she grasped at the pieces of the life she destroyed. And then, I laughed. Soft, cold. "Then maybe," I said, turning away. "You should have thought about that before you betrayed me." She gasped. But I didn't stop. I walked away, leaving her behind. Because Sophia wasn't my problem anymore. She was just a lesson I would never forget. I didn't look back. Not when she called my name. Not when her voice cracked with desperation. Not when I heard the faint sound of her sobs as I disappeared into the night. Sophia had spent months plotting my downfall. And now, she was nothing more than a footnote in my past. I had wasted enough time on her. And I was done. The next morning, I received a call from my lawyer. "It's done, Nathan." "How long?" I asked, sipping my coffee, watching the sunrise from my penthouse. Sophia took a deal, 4 years minimum. Liam wasn't as lucky. He's looking at 10. I smirked, not out of malice, but out of satisfaction. They had planned to ruin me, and instead, they had destroyed themselves. Days passed, weeks, and something strange happened. I stopped thinking about her, stopped remembering the way she smiled, the way she used to kiss me like I was her world, because I knew now it had all been an act. Sophia had never loved me. She had loved the power, the status, the wealth. And without me, she had nothing. And that was enough. One night, as I sat in my office, finishing the last of my work, my phone buzzed. A new message. Not from Sophia. Not from the past. But from someone new. Her. "Dinner tomorrow?" My treat this time. I stared at the message for a moment. Then, for the first time in a long time, I smiled. Because my life wasn't about Sophia's betrayal anymore. It was about everything that came next. And this time, I was finally writing the story on my own terms. I didn't hesitate. I typed a simple reply. Looking forward to it. Then I set my phone down and poured myself a drink. For months, my life had been about revenge, exposure, and destruction. Now, it was about what came next. And I was finally ready to move forward. 2 days later, I received an email. Sophia Caldwell case update. I clicked it out of curiosity, but the moment I saw the details, I knew she was officially done. She had been sentenced. 4 years in prison. No early release. No special treatment. Just time to sit and think about every decision that led her there. Liam? 10 years. His entire empire gone. And me? I was still standing. No, I was thriving. And as I closed the email, I realized something. I didn't feel anything for her anymore. Not anger. Not regret. Not even satisfaction. Because Sophia no longer mattered. She had once tried to ruin my life. And now, she was just another name lost to time. That evening, I arrived at the restaurant 10 minutes early. A strange habit I had always kept, being prepared for anything. But tonight, it wasn't about revenge. It wasn't about betrayal or uncovering secrets. It was just a night with someone new. A woman who wasn't playing games. Who wasn't using me. Who looked at me like I was the man she had been waiting for, not a stepping stone to something better. And for the first time in what felt like a lifetime, I let myself enjoy the moment. As the night went on, I felt it. A shift. I wasn't the same man who had walked into that wedding, blinded by love and betrayal. I wasn't the man who had spent months digging through lies, exposing the people who had tried to destroy me. I was someone new. And as I laughed, clinking glasses with the woman across from me, I realized, this was the real victory. Not revenge. Not watching them fall. But choosing to live, choosing to move forward. And this time, I was never looking back. For the first time in a long time, my life wasn't about fixing a betrayal or destroying my enemies. It was about me. The past had no power over me anymore. Sophia was nothing but a bad decision I had corrected. Liam? Rotting in a cell where he belonged. And now I was here, enjoying my life, my success, and the fact that I had come out of this untouched. I had won. One morning, my assistant knocked on my office door. "Sir, you might want to see this." I raised an eyebrow as she placed a newspaper on my desk. The headline? Former socialite Sophia Caldwell requests appeal. Denied. I smirked as I read through the article. She had tried to wiggle her way out of her sentence. Tried to play the victim. Tried to convince the court she had been manipulated. But the evidence? The recordings? The bank statements? Undeniable. Her appeal had been denied instantly. She wasn't getting out early. She was serving every single day of her sentence. And as I folded the newspaper and tossed it aside, I realized this was the last time I would ever think about her. Because Sophia, she was just a ghost of a life I didn't care about anymore. That night, I took a long drive along the coast. The air was fresh. The city lights stretched in the distance. And for the first time in forever, I felt nothing but peace.
No anger. No revenge.
No ghosts whispering in the back of my mind. Just the feeling that this was the beginning of something better. Something that was truly mine. And as I parked at a quiet lookout, staring at the endless ocean, I smiled. Because tomorrow wasn't about fixing the past. Tomorrow was about building the future. And this time, no one would ever stand in my way again. A week after Sophia's failed appeal, I received an unexpected letter. No return address. No sender name. But I already knew who it was from. I stared at it for a moment, debating whether I should even bother opening it. Then, curiosity got the better of me. I unfolded the letter and read, "Nathan, I know you don't owe me anything, but I have nothing left. I think about you every day, about what we were, about what I lost. I don't expect you to forgive me, but if you could find it in yourself to at least see me one last time, I would be grateful. Even if just for closure. Sophia." I sighed. The last act of a desperate woman grasping at the ashes of her former life. And for a brief moment I wondered, should I give her the closure she was begging for? Then I smirked, shaking my head. No, because Sophia wasn't a part of my life anymore. And I wasn't about to give her the satisfaction of thinking I still cared. I tossed the letter into the fire, watching the flames consume the last piece of her I would ever have to deal with. Sophia was gone. And this time it was forever. A few nights later, I sat at a rooftop bar, a glass of whiskey in my hand, overlooking the city.
No regrets. No ghosts. No bitterness.
Just clarity. Across the table sat a woman. Someone new. Someone who had no connection to my past. No hidden motives, no schemes. She laughed, her eyes full of something I hadn't seen in a long time. Genuine warmth. You seem deep in thought, she said, tilting her head. I smirked, shaking my head, just thinking about how different things are now. She raised her glass. To new beginnings? I clinked my glass against hers. To new beginnings. And as I took a slow sip, I realized something. This was the real victory. Not revenge. Not Sophia's downfall. Not even my survival. The real victory was that I had come out of this wiser, stronger, and untouchable. And now, I was finally free to live the life I truly deserved. On my terms. With no regrets.